Hello and welcome to another episode of NDI TV. Today we're going to be talking about the new NDI 5.5 release. We'll take a closer look at what's inside the new release, including all new features like NDI Router. And we'll be talking to Nick Smith, VP of Technology at Exertis Broadcast, to find out what's new from Kiloview for content creators everywhere. Over to you, Nick. Hello, Nick. Welcome to NDI TV. How are you?
Marvelous. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Well, very excited to have you. Thank you so much. Can we just start off by saying, just tell us a little bit about your role, Nick, and what Exertis Broadcast does?
So we are a distributor. We work exclusively with resellers and integrators in North America. And our focus is the broadcast, post-production, pro AV. Effectively, we kind of look at it from screen to screen or from glass to glass, right? So getting anytime media moves from the camera all the way to the silver screen and all points in between, those are the technologies that we're bringing to the market. Transcoding, live production, cameras, all these things that help us create sort of the modern television show or just modern broadcast media in general. So we bring that to the reseller channel and the systems integrators of North America.
Great. And can you help us understand a little bit more about Exertis' relationship with Kiloview? How does it work?
Absolutely. So Exertis Broadcast is the North American distributor for Kiloview. So we work directly with the factory to identify needs and products that the market needs, give them feedback on the existing products, and then take those products into the dealer channel, help customers understand how to use them, why they should use them, what they're going to do for them, and then distribute that through the reseller channel in North America.
What kind of offerings or products are you most excited about from Kiloview, especially in view to IBC coming up?
All right. Well, so there's a bunch of announcements that are going to drop at IBC this year, and probably some really fun stuff. That it's good to see them evolving the product offering that they're bringing to market. So we'll have a series of new encoders coming out in the N series line, which are the full NDI, and specifically the N50, which is a 12G SDI encoder or decoder. The difference is that this one will support both full NDI and NDI HX, as well as USB devices. So we can plug this into a computer and act sort of as a controlled scan converter. And then the announcement kind of follows on the heels of NAB when they announced the N60, which is the HDMI version of this same solution. In fact, I do have a photo of that one that we can throw up right now. And so you can kind of see the footprint and the design of this one. So this is the N60 that was launched at NAB. It's officially going to be releasing and shipping right around IBC time. The 12G SDI version will be this, only with, of course, 12G SDI spigots versus the HDMI. So these hardware components are some of the big announcements that we're going to be seeing at IBC. In addition to that, we have a couple of new devices. These are server-based products, and they're designed to house all the new software that Kiloview is releasing. As you mentioned, they're not a products company, they're a solution company. And so not only are they thinking about the encoders and the decoders, they're thinking of all the control and the modular pieces that go in between. So we've got a couple of new servers that are releasing called Cube, and Cube is going to be sort of the landing place for all these software products that they're releasing. And the software ranges from a server called KiloLink, which is a management platform to control all your NDI, and not just NDI, also the other hardware as well, which we can talk about in a moment. But all the NDI encoders, decoders, H.264 encoders and decoders, and then Core, which is a routing application. And I actually have both of these running right now, so whenever we're ready, we can flip over and we can actually talk about that particular product. And then the last one I do want to talk about is the D350. And this is a multi-channel decoder. It's a 4K decoder. It handles NDI, HX, as well as H.264, SRT, and sort of all the other flavors of the IP rainbow. Now, the power to this one is often we have people who want to mix different types of media, right? They might have NDI locally on the network, plus have other forms of media coming in from outside the network. With the D350, we'll be able to decode all of those in a single box and then either show that on a single screen like an HDMI, or create a multi-viewer out of those and put those up on an SDI or HDMI monitor. So this one's really powerful, and I think that one, it's a sort of an offshoot of the D300, which already exists, which handles 1080p signals. This is just a step up in that game to be able to take on both high bandwidth NDI, HX, and 4K all in the same frame.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you a little bit about the new release of NDI 5.5. What's the most exciting development or feature you've seen with the new release?
Okay, so first and foremost, the API on the audio side. So we're big fans of the VST plugin, and I think the expansion of opening that up to do more and allow people to kind of customize it and build it into their own applications, that to me is the greatest piece of all inside of there. Bridge has gotten better and faster. We love that part. Honestly, though, my favorite would be the improvements to remote and to virtual cam, getting the preview of virtual cam on your desktop so that you kind of know what you've got, what you're looking at, and not having to have a separate monitor window open to verify. So I think those are probably my core features in there that I love the most in NDI 5.5.
Yeah. What's the next kind of exciting development, do you think, where NDI is going? I mean, we've been seeing developments with virtual sets, 3D, those kind of things. Have you anything that you're really excited about?
Honestly, yeah, the inclusion of 3D in the food chain, so to speak, is super powerful and super important for me. So we're seeing a lot of smaller corporate studios convert over to XR stages. They're building XR stages in lieu of building sets, right? And so having that 3D enablement inside of the NDI food chain is really important for us, because it sort of just simplifies the engagement or the amount of technology that's required to create an XR virtual set, or just a virtual set in general. So with a lot of those clients are starting with green screen, and they're sort of evolving their green screen studios, and then now they're looking at going full LED volumes to kind of take that to the next level, so they can give real-time feedback to the customer who is the one sitting in the green screen space. And so for me, XR and virtual sets are probably the key most technology right now that NDI is starting to really dive into and bridge.
I believe you're going to be at IBC. Where will we be able to find you?
Yeah, so we don't take a booth at IBC since we handle the North American market. Our resellers, very few of our resellers come over. So for me, it's a scouting mission. It's an opportunity to go walk the floor, because I spend so much time in booths at NAB and Infocom that IBC is a chance for me to go research, to look at the trends, see what's happening in other parts of the world that may not have hit North America yet. And so it's really just a big scouting mission for me to find new and relevant technologies. So you're going to find me on the floor gawking at every cool thing I see, probably with a camera in hand filming it so I can bring it back to our audiences. But if I'm not in randomly walking past the Stroop waffle stand, then I'll probably be in the VizRT booth, or just bouncing between different manufacturer partners. But we've got about 30 manufacturers who will be showing at IBC this year. All right, well, let's get into a little bit of the demonstration, and we'll sort of talk about a couple of things. So they released a product called Core back at NAB. It actually released before NAB, but that was sort of the big announcement. And Core effectively is an XY router for NDI. So if I jump into sort of a panel here, what we can see is a list of sources and a list of destinations. Now, these destinations are virtual. We're generating these at the server level. So they're not actually a device like a decoder. They're a new source on the network. And at this point, what we effectively are showing people to do is, rather than taking a Spark or an NDI decoder and directly communicating to that decoder, we just set that decoder to one of our outputs and leave it there. And now you never have to touch that decoder or that destination source again, right? Because I've got all my sources here, and I actually get a full cross-point router. I have the ability now to come in and choose sources and destinations and route those to the location we want to route them to. So it sort of takes back all the layers of control. And the most important factor of this is what we see in a lot of facilities is people have some Sparks from NewTek and maybe a Magewell or some Kiloview decoders, right? And so they've got a plethora of those, and all of those companies sort of have their own centralized management. But with Core, we can say, hey, no matter what you have, we can send a source to it. And we never have to talk to that device directly. We're just controlling what feeds into that device. So we've got all this ability to see our sources, our destinations, and route those. There are two licensed versions of this. There's a light version, which has a limited number of devices, and then there's an unlocked version, which has an unlimited number of destinations and sources. So we can sort of build it up according to what the client wants. And again, budget wise, this is no more than $1,000, so it's very affordable. Now, the difference with this is this is enabled and designed to be run virtually. So it is not a standard Windows app that you're going to run on a Mac or a PC. This is actually built on Linux, living in a container file. So it's very cloud forward. In fact, I've got a client who runs it in the cloud now in Amazon, and they're routing sources into their Amazon cloud, maintaining those, and then using this to manage all that content sitting up in the cloud. And so it can run on-prem or it can run in the cloud. It can look at anybody's NDI signal, and it can route to any NDI destination. You've got a lot of control in terms of the number of sources, where they're going. You can even create playlists where we're routing certain sources sort of on a time fashion. So if you want to create like a display in the lobby and just slowly pulse through different things that are happening in the studios, you can do that. It's got very rich user management, so we can set users that have access to everything, or we can define our users and only give them access to certain sources and destinations so that we know they're not going to sort of, get involved in things they shouldn't or mess up somebody else's show. And then it's got a really nice interface here in terms of sort of seeing what's going on in your network, how much data is passing through, how much NDI you're looking at, and of course how much CPU usage, right? So you can, with the nice thing with virtualization is we can sort of right size our system and customize it to how it's going to be run in your network. But if you tend to find like later down the road, hey, I'm using too much system resource, I need to give it more CPU power, with virtualization you can do that with very, very quickly without buying a new computer. That side. Right. Yeah, so great product. This is going to be released in the new box design they're coming out with. So that new server application they're releasing. If you don't want to install this yourself, you can buy it pre-configured in a box with a touch panel on the front. Now, the one other thing I want to add on this is there is a full API to managing this remotely. So a customer who's got a restaurant or an AMX system, or somebody's control system, right? That API can communicate and perform XYZ, XY cross points in here. So pretty exciting product.
Flexibility. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Is this a subscription-based model, or is it a one-time?
And one-time license. Yep.
Right.
One-time license. Good. They get it, they own it, and they get to use it for as long as necessary. Yeah.
Fabulous. Anything else for us today, or?
Yeah, no, we're going to go one more. So this one was just released a couple of weeks ago. And this is, going back to that message of there are products that we want to help to manage everybody's NDI, and then there are products that we want to use to manage the Kiloview NDI, and not just the NDI products, but the other products they have in their lineup as well. Right, so this is KiloLink Server free, and Server is basically a management platform for all of the Kiloview NDI decoders, encoders, and other products. So what we can see here is I'm in sort of device mode. I can see my current devices online at our studio in Folsom. Looks like two of the N40s are offline. These are HDMI 4K encoders, and then my my U40, which is an HDMI decoder. Encoder only. The others are encoders, decoders. But effectively, we can see that they're online. I can see typically what's going on inside them. It doesn't like going over my VPN right now. I can adjust user management, so who has control of these devices. And I can even go to the device interface itself. And this allows me to kind of take a look at what that device is doing. Let's try that one more time, because the fun and magic of working across the network, sometimes it doesn't like to let me do things the first time. But this gives me a snapshot of the actual interface of that device. So the goal here is that I never have to remember 500 IP addresses and logins for all my NDI and my Kiloview devices. I have one interface that is cloud enabled. So this is actually the same architecture. This is running in a Linux Docker or container file virtualized on our network. So I have access to all my devices. I can see them, control them. I only have to have one username and password to get into this interface. And this interface is web-based, so I can do it from pretty much any device on the network. I can get inside this software, route, see what's going on, control my devices. And then for firmware, they've actually done something spectacular here. So if I go into maintenance mode, if I look at individual devices, I can do bulk firmware upgrades. So rather than selecting each device or going to each device independently and uploading firmware, I just hit the firmware upgrade button, choose the latest firmware, and then I'm able to upgrade all those devices simultaneously. So it's a phenomenal routing management tool for all of your Kiloview components that are sitting on your network.
It looks really very, very flexible, and I love the UI design, very nice and clean.
All right, one more thing, and this is an IBC announcement that's coming up. Okay. So this is about their PSeries encoders. Now these are cellular bonded encoders. They're effectively, here we've got one right here, I'll hold it up. So this is a battery operated encoder. They come in both HDMI and SDI versions. They have cellular connections out here. We've got SIM card slots built right into it. The goal here is that somebody can take this out in the field. It's battery operated internally, and they can, in a matter of minutes, turn this on, connect to camera source, and be broadcasting from anywhere. And the primary box actually feeds back to a free server. It's a free software that you get when you buy one of these PSeries encoders. And it allows you to then take that source, that bonded source, and then feed it out to either one of the decoders or over NDI. Well, the big announcement is that they're going to be offering NDI in these boxes just after IBC. And the license is going to be available through you all on the website, where a customer can log into NDI TV. They can purchase the NDI license, line it to one of these encoders. So now that you can have NDI locally where this device sits, as well as bonded cellular going back to a production facility. So because these have Wi-Fi built into them, you could open up Monitor on a local computer, join that Wi-Fi network, and be seeing the signal coming out of the camera system or off the encoder prior to it going back over cellular.
Wow, that sounds really great. Can't wait to see some of that stuff at IBC. So thank you very much for your time today, Nick.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it.
NDI is proud to announce the NDI 5.5 Tools Pack, the latest update to the world-renowned NDI tools. New apps, new features, and more. If you are new to NDI applications, you can get started by downloading the NDI Tools Pack for free at NDI.TV. Then you can use your network to send, receive, and create content in new and creative ways. As part of this update, we have added built-in tutorial videos available directly in the Learn More section of each NDI app to help you get started using NDI. Another new enhancement is the Auto Launcher, which will launch certain applications as soon as your system starts. Improvements have been made to the registration system as well. When you install NDI tools in your system, your registration now has a long-term presence, no longer requiring you to re-register when updating or reinstalling NDI tools. The first application to receive a major update is NDI Webcam. You can now configure up to 4 NDI signals to be used as webcams that can be used simultaneously with multiple video conferencing applications. Next, NDI Remote now provides a way to send and manage video and audio from various sources to a local NDI receiver for broadcast, recording, or any other use. It also has a new and improved website allowing for camera selection and a Windows desktop sharing feature. Additionally, NDI Remote also now has the ability to send a return audio signal to your remote contributors that only they can hear for information, stage direction, and more via TalkBack. On top of that, the free integrated turn server allows users to test their own turn server capabilities, a helpful feature to aid in the deployment of NDI Remote. And finally, there is a brand new application called NDI Router. NDI Router allows you to route NDI video and audio signals to a variety of destinations. Users can quickly assign NDI sources to named router outputs, create presets to recall router layouts for different shows or sites with one click, and customize controls for ease of use. When you combine these new features with the already existing NDI tools, these applications give you the power to connect any device in any location, anywhere in the world, and transmit live video to wherever you are. All of this and more is available now. You can download the NDI 5.5 tools for free at NDI.TV.
Well, that's it for today. A massive thank you to Nick Smith from Exertis Broadcast. And just to say, if you haven't already downloaded the latest NDI 5.5 release, head over to ndi.tv/tools to get your free copy today. Also, finally, IBC is back, and NDI will have a very strong presence this year with over 30 partners exhibiting the latest innovation and tech. If you're at the show, please do come by and say hello. You're going to find us at the VisRT Group booth in Hall 7. See you next time on NDI TV.